Well, Southampton's Premier League season ends on a high with a 3-1 win over Chris Wilder's side. We'll be talking about that performance, and we'll also be looking back at our goal of this season. So make sure you stay tuned for that one and get your comments in and tell us what yours is as well. So before all of that, let's welcome Dean Hammond and Adam Leitch back into the fold. Hello, gents. Let's get straight into it. Dean, what did you make of that performance?
Again, I think it was very similar to the Bournemouth performance. It was an excellent display second half. First half was, I'd like to give credit to Sheffield United. Held a very good shape, got lots of numbers around and bodies around the ball. Defensively, very, very strong. They probably had the better chances first half in Billy Sharp, which you would have thought he would have scored when it was one-on-one chance. And Southampton kind of just having that extra touch, couldn't quite get their rhythm going. A few passes going astray, weren't quite playing at the tempo that we're used to since they've returned from the break. But second half, excellent. Moved the ball a lot quicker, played higher up in Sheffield United's half, good combinations, good movement from the players. The difference was, I think, where there was a lot of unselfish runs off the ball, which you may not see, but created space for other players. And the players seemed to come alive. And I think potentially Southampton didn't change that much. I think one thing I've noticed maybe is that the Southampton players are so fit and strong that it's not they're changing anything. They can just keep that tempo going for 90 minutes and the opposition are falling away a little bit. So because their conditioning is so good that it looks like Southampton are stepping up a gear when they're not really. They're just consistently playing at that level for the full game. So very impressive second half. Che Adams, 2 excellent goals, which we spoke about before the game. Could he be a natural goal scorer? Would the club need someone in the same mould as Danny Ings? But Che Adams has scored a lot of goals for Birmingham previously. Could he do it at the Premier League? They were instinctive finishes, especially the first one. So that was good to see. And Danny Ings getting a penalty at the end. Unfortunately, couldn't get another goal or an additional goal on top of that to get the golden boot. But a very impressive display, especially second half, and a great way to finish the season. And they're just a joy to watch at the moment. Really, really are. Just very comfortable. And one thing I like as a fan now is you go into games thinking Southampton are going to win today. And they keep proving that week in and week out. So a very good display.
Well, we'll talk in more depth about those 3 goals a little bit later on in the show. But Adam, you predicted a 3-1 win. That's exactly what we got. What was your overall assessment of that game?
Thanks, Kenzie. That was nice of you to point that out. I'll make sure the check's in the post. To be honest, I agree with Dean actually. In that I think in the first half, occasionally you have to hold your hands up and say. The other team are doing well, and I think that was the case for Sheffield United. I didn't feel like the Saints were particularly below par. I just thought Sheffield United came with a good game plan. They executed it well. There was some good intensity in their play. Second half, as the intensity level from Sheffield United fell, Saints kind of took over, as Dean said, as they have done in a lot of games with their fitness, which we talked about before the match. And in the end, I think they ran out worthy winners and fairly comfortable winners. So it was just a really pleasing way to end the season. I felt a bit like at half time, a little bit like, don't let it end like this. After such a great run and so much momentum, it wouldn't have really mattered, but it still would have felt, I think, to the players and to Ralph as a bit finishing on a bit of a downer. But that was not the case at all. And you could see again, the delight at seeing Che Adams score, because I think there's that feeling around the club that he might be a really big player for them next season. So the more confidence he gets, the better, really. And so a pleasing way to wrap up the season.
Well, Adam, on that, just how important has this spell been for Che?
Well, I mean, absolutely vital. To go a long time as a striker without scoring, the pressure's mounting. Maybe in a strange kind of way, the break actually did him good. Perhaps that released a little bit of the pressure on him that he was feeling week in and week out. And he's come back I mean, we talked before the game, didn't we, about other strikers contributing, and I guess it's a sign of how well he's done And, conversely, I suppose, how much of a struggle it's been for other strikers to score, that until 3 weeks ago, he hadn't even scored for Saints. And now he's sort of after Danny Ings, he scored more goals than any other Saints striker. And he's actually third in the list for top scorers for the club in the Premier League this season, which is remarkable given he hadn't scored 3 weeks ago. So I think it's terrific for him. I'm sure he'll have a lot of confidence and belief going into the new season. I would be tempted to say he wouldn't want the season to end, but I think in a funny kind of way, I don't actually necessarily think that's true. I think there's kind of a nice juncture now for him to have a little break, take stock, come back, ready to start probably as the number one choice now, I think, alongside Danny Ings. He's probably cemented that position for himself. And really come back and hit the ground running. He looks in good physical shape, you have to say. He's obviously confident. And so hopefully this season we'll see him start as he finished. Because there wasn't a lot wrong earlier in the season. I really didn't think that. I thought he played excellently earlier in the season. It was just the goals that were missing. And now the goals are coming along with the performances. So a lot to look forward to from him, I think, next year.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to indeed. Dean, how pleasing is it to see Shea bag another 2 goals?
Yeah, really pleasing, because he's a player that needed that first goal. And he got his first goal, which was, again, an excellent finish. And that would have just done him the world of good. And I think Adam touched on it there. The break would have done him good. Give him time to maybe analyse his performances, maybe have a think, maybe have a rest. Just from that pressure of thinking, I need that goal. Every time I get a chance, I need to score. So him having the rest, and the manager, I think, would have played a massive part in it. It would be interesting to see how the manager's approached it, what he's been saying to Shea, how he's been treating him, has he been communicating well with him, because he was a big signing for the football club. And I think he will be a really, really good player for the future. He's settling in now. He's moved down from the Midlands. He's moved down south, so he's settled now. He's had a season in the Premier League. He knows what the Premier League's all about. And his 2 finishes today were very, very good. Especially the first one. If you see, as he's running through, he has a quick look at the goalkeeper. Then he has another touch, and then he shoots very, very quickly. So he doesn't have to have that an extra glance, which slows the shot down. And that is a sign of a very good striker, an instinctive striker. So we spoke before the game. Can the club find another striker that can chip in alongside Danny Ings and get 10 to 12 goals? Well, Shea's got 4 in, the last 3, 4, 5 games. So if he keeps to that ratio, then he definitely will do. So it will do his confidence a world of good. He can finish the season now in a good state of mind. He can enjoy a little break and be excited to come back and be the number one choice alongside Danny Ings for Southampton next season.
Well, Shea will certainly be a happy man after that performance, and it seems that the fans are pleased as well. Lots of comments coming in with great praise for the side today. Alex Olivia on YouTube has said, what a performance. Paul Norman also on YouTube, hello to you. He says, come on you Reds, what a great way to end the season. Dean Brown, good evening. He says, great result, looking forward to next season already, as am I, Dean. And Jack Jennings has said, I'm happy with 11th, great season. And a comment here from Cascard 16 on YouTube. They've said, let's go boys, shame it wasn't all Ings, but I ain't complaining. Yeah, let's talk about Danny, shall we? He did bag another goal, but it wasn't quite enough for the golden boot. He certainly won't be disappointed with this season though, Adam. A great season for him.
Well, I mean, the standards that he set himself, I wouldn't be surprised if he is a tiny bit disappointed. But that's a mark of kind of where his game is at. I think that he feels like he could score every time he walks on the pitch. And yeah, he got the penalty, but I bet in the back of his mind, we spoke about it before the game, I bet now he's really wishing he could have that penalty in the previous game again. But I mean, I'm sure when he reflects upon it, he will cherish this season probably for many, many years after he's retired as well, because it's a very special achievement to have come second top scorer. It's and it just, to me, it's just so remarkable that you can achieve something like that while you're playing for a team who has struggled for so much of this, or a large portion of the season. you expect to get chances playing for Man City and Liverpool, Arsenal, clubs like that. Yeah, you've still got to put them in the net, but they're going to create a lot more than Southampton are. And Southampton did struggle early on in the season. And so to have kind of contributed that sheer weight of goals is just absolutely remarkable. And I mean, we've mentioned it before. I mean, he is absolutely nailed on to get in the next England squad now. There is no way he's getting left out of that squad. He's still got to get on the pitch, but I think no way he's going to be out of that squad. So it's fantastic times for him. All that hard work, and Dean spoke about it very well previously, but all the hard work that he's obviously put in to get himself at that level physically, to be able to maintain the standards that he set for himself, and then to be able to score the goals, just fantastic, really. You almost run out of things to say about it because it's just so good. It's so obviously fantastic for him and for the football club. And yeah, I'd love to think he could do it again next year. But realistically, his achievement is so good. Very, very few players score more than 20 Premier League goals in a season, especially playing for a team that finishes outside of the top 6. So it just underlines what an incredible achievement it is.
Yeah, an incredible achievement indeed for Danny, coming so painfully close to that golden boot. And another incredible achievement is that of James Ward-Prowse, playing every single Premier League minute this season. Dean, we spoke about it pre-match, so Adam, I'll come to you again on this. Just how impressed are you with that stat?
I mean, it is amazing, to be honest with you. It's because I think, there is obviously the physical aspect to it. You've got to be supremely fit. You've got to look after yourself so well away from the pitch as well to kind of be able to get out there to start every game, let alone to finish every game. But it's also about the form. I mean, to have the form that you get picked to start in every single match, to have the stamina to keep going through every game, so the manager never feels he needs to replace you. He never feels that he needs to leave you out to give you a rest. I mean, it's absolutely remarkable. I don't know the last Saints player to have done it. I don't know how many have done it, but it must be incredibly few players that have ever managed to achieve this, because it is something amazing. And I mean, I guess in a way you have to say that it's a less glamorous than scoring 22 goals in a season. But if you're talking about out and out achievements, it's right up there with what Danny's done, because it's the kind of thing that just doesn't happen very often anywhere. So it is just an incredible feat, and he deserves plenty of praise and plaudits in the same way that Danny does, because I think he's achieved something that is equally as incredible.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable from Prowsey. Let's move the chat on then to a couple of other players. Let's shine the spotlight on Will Smallbone for now. Dean, what have you made of his efforts? He'll be pleased to have had some minutes today.
Yes, and it's good for him to get some extra minutes and that experience in the Premier League. And the experience will do him good. The more and more he plays, the more and more comfortable he'll become at this level. You can see he's got quality as a younger player. Be interesting to see where the manager sees his preferred position, where the player sees his preferred position. I think he's in the same sort of situation as Prowsey, where I think he'll be better centrally. I think he's a central midfield player, but because of his age and his limited experience at the moment, the manager won't give him that responsibility of playing centrally. So he's going to have to adapt to that and play wider on the right as a narrow 10. But he had some nice touches when he came on. He keeps the ball simple. He progresses up the pitch. He looks like he likes taking the responsibility of taking a shot on. He likes to play forward. I saw in the game he tried to play the ball around the corner a couple of times and combine with Danny Ings. Didn't quite come off. But you can see the fault patterns are there and how he tries to approach the game. So he did okay today. I think he'll just be a player that develops and develops. The manager obviously likes him. The manager obviously sees that he's a player for Southampton. And that's all you need really as a younger player. The belief from the manager will give you confidence, which means then you get a chance to grow as a player. You know you're going to get opportunities if he keeps himself fit, if he keeps himself working hard. then he'll be a good player for Southampton. But you can see that I like the way he's thinking at the moment. Everything he's doing is not quite happening for him or happening all the time, but I like the way he's thinking. He looks like a good player and a good prospect for the club.
Well, another player we should talk about is Vestergaard. Adam, what have you made of his performances since the restart, and how do you assess his future at the club?
I guess his performances since the restart have kind of summed up his time at Saints, really. It's inconsistent. I think the thing with Vestergaard has been that he's obviously a strapping guy. He's huge. He's very good in the air, and we saw when those qualities really come into effect when they played Watford, and he kind of had Deeney in his pocket. Watford played very direct, and he did really well that day. But then sometimes you see his limitations on the ground. I mean, today, getting skinned like he was by Billy Sharp when Sharp should have scored in the first half. The goal, it's just, you can argue the cross shouldn't have come in, but it's just kind of it's all a bit clumsy sometimes with the ball at his feet. The thing I like about him is that he kind of is quite a big character, because he doesn't really get too down about any of these things. He does kind of keep on trooping on, and it doesn't put him off trying to bring the ball out from the back and carry it forward and start attacks that way. But I mean, he is behind Bednarek and Stevens in the pecking order, I think, in terms of first choice to start next season. I think with Yoshida gone, I suspect that there will be another centre-half signed during the closed season. That probably pushes him down to fourth choice. So I guess if that is the case, the situation is more of what is his mindset? How content is he to be fourth choice to start the season and try to fight his way in with limited opportunities? Or now, he's a fairly experienced guy. Does he feel that he wants to be more than that? And I think that probably how he feels about that, whether he really wants to dig in and fight to get in the team, which is going to ultimately mean when he gets his chances, he needs to be more consistent. Whether that's what he wants or whether he wants to go and try and be a first choice somewhere else, I kind of feel that will determine what happens with him, because he is a guy that, there's been rumours of other clubs looking at him as well. So he is a guy that potentially, if Ralph's a bit unsure, could actually generate a little bit of money that could be spent elsewhere. So it's a little bit in the balance for me, because he is behind two centre-halves, and I think Saints will sign another centre-half, which just pushes him further down. So it's whether he and the club want him in that role or not.
Well, let's bring the fans back into the conversation now before we talk about our goal of the season. We have a comment here from Tara. Thanks for getting in touch. She says, brilliant since we've been playing again, and great to now have Danny and Shay on fire. They certainly are, aren't they, Tara? David's also got in touch. He says, how unselfish is Ings? What a team player. He gets everywhere. And a comment here from James Brewer. Thanks for this. He says, well done, Saints. Another fantastic team effort. We have some very quick and sharp players at the moment. So great to see lots of happy fans. But it's time now to look back on this season that's been. We will be running an official goal of the season poll over the coming weeks. But here on Saints Live, we've made our own mini montage. 6 contenders, and here they are.
Now, poor pass from Sheffield United, and Hammond has got the ball round Norwood. There's all sorts of yellow card going on there, but he's still going Jennifer. Oh, it's brilliant! Oh, what a goal! Musa Jennifer's done it again! Out of nothing! Held back, dragged back, went round 2, looked up, slotted it past the keeper. About 4 yards outside the box. Ward-Prowse lifts it, and he's got it in as well! He did find the time to deliver! Cometh the hour, cometh the man, the free kick specialist. Ward-Prowse, first time back to Stevens. They've gone back a lot of yards here, Saints, but they're keeping the ball and they've kept possession. And that's a lovely back heel. And now Armstrong's gone past another player. He deserves something. He's going over the top to Redmond. Redmond past Kepa. He has his first goal since August. and then they do force the error out of Spurs, and then they lift one over the top for Danny Ings. Ings in the box, onto his left foot, it's brilliant. It's a fantastic goal from Danny Ings. He's done it again. Saints top scorer, 17 minutes gone, onto his right foot. That's a good ball into Redmond, back to goal, holds off the defender Kelly, then turns away from one, into the box, fires a brilliant goal! Nathan Redmond puts Saints into the lead. He hit the bar with one like that at the weekend. This time it's unerring into the top corner. Now they've got the ball off, they've done it. Zinchenko caught and the long shot taken, that's 1-0 to Saints. What a strike and what a way to get your first goal for the club. First time, saw Edison off his line. Shea Adams on his 9th start for Southampton.
Well, 6 absolutely fantastic strikes to choose from. Remember, you can have your say in the comments at home, but let's get the thoughts of Dean and Adam. Adam, we'll start with you. What's your goal of the season from those?
Well, I mean, there's some belters in there, that's for sure. So I didn't find it easy to select, but I went for a Danny Ings, the goal against Tottenham. It made me a bit nostalgic because it reminded me of Matt Letizia and the famous goal against Newcastle, just because he flicks it over the guy's head, and then a really cool finish. I really loved the finish. Obviously, the composure to stick it over the defender's head is amazing, but then with the finish, the easy thing to do is just to hammer it. But you can see he takes a look and goes deliberately near post. And quite often, when you see those goals that go near post like that, when you actually watch it carefully, you can see that quite often it's because the player slightly scuffed the shot and it ends up going near post in the corner like that. But you can see it's a completely deliberate finish. It's what he's gone for because he's seen how stationary the goalkeeper is. I just think it's a fantastic goal. Obviously, he's had a fantastic season. He probably doesn't need another goal of the season award. He's probably going to get enough awards as it is. But I just enjoyed it, and like I said, it brought back some fond, nostalgic memories of the great Matt Letizia as well. So another Southampton icon. So it was Danny Ings for me.
Yeah, fantastic goal that. But Dean, do you agree? What's your goal of the season?
Well, I agree that Danny Ings' finish is excellent with Adam. I also like Redmond's goal against Chelsea. Really, really good team goal. Good passing and movement. So that was a fantastic team goal. But I'd have to go for myself. I just can't look past Shea Adams' finish. Just because the technique of it, the awareness of where he is on the pitch, the awareness of where the goalkeeper is on the pitch, and to control and measure the shot so it bounces before it goes in. And the meaning of the goal as well for Shea, to be able to get his first goal for the football club like that it's always memorable to get his first Premier League goal. It's always memorable to get your first goal for the football club. But you'll always remember that strike against Manchester City as well in a win. So, yeah, great finish from Shea, and the technique was fantastic. So some very good goals. Prowse scored a couple of good free kicks as well, but I'd have to go for Shea Adams.
Yeah, two good choices there. I like them both. Well, let's talk about player of the season contenders, shall we? Adam, you mentioned Danny Ings is going to be most people's choice, I imagine. Jeff Thomas has got in touch on YouTube and he says Danny Ings is a dead cert for player of the year. It's hard to argue with him, really. But who else deserves a mention?
Well, Danny's inevitably is going to be the runaway winner of this, but I think Prowse obviously deserves a good mention given what we've been talking about. For me, I would give honourable mention as well to Jack Stevens. I think he's been really, really good this season. He's improved greatly. I think he's really come into his own. He's a first choice now. And he's really established himself as a really good, solid Premier League centre-back. And given that he's had some ups and downs, and to get to that point, I think good on him for doing that. Stu Armstrong's done well as well. I mean, he's been good, but probably hasn't played quite as consistently as some of the others. So I think there's been a lot of good performers, especially in the second half of this season. I think for me it would be, if I was picking a top three, it would be Danny, Jack and Prowse in that order.
Dean, you were nodding away in agreement whilst Adam was speaking there. Who are your standout performers been this season?
And I'd have to say Jack Stevens as well, like Adam's just said, just because of the way he's established himself in the team now. He's a younger player that's come through the club. He's had some up and down periods in the club. He's learnt his trade through probably his own mistakes maybe in his performances. And look at him now. He's probably the first choice centre half now. You can see that when he got suspended, and then the two centre halves played against Watford and played extremely well, and he came back into the team straight away. So, I just like the way that Jack reads the game. He looks comfortable at this level now. He's comfortable in possession as well. So he's got everything to be a top centre half, and there's no reason why he won't be at the club for many, many years to come and really nail down that position. So I always rate it because I feel comfortable with him playing at the back. I don't feel nervous with him there. And he's got good experience to the Premier League now. He's been at the club a few years. So I think he's had a very, very good season and progressed very well. And I think there's more to come from his game. Can he now turn into a bit of a leader? Can he become an even bigger communicator at the back? Because that's such an integral part of being a centre half. You see the whole game, you see the whole picture in front of you. Can he now help players around him? He's had a very good season.
Well, the fans at home have been having their say and showing their appreciation for their standout performers this season as well. Jojo's got in touch on Facebook. She says, proud of everyone, but especially Ings. He may not have won the Golden Boot, but still proud on how far he's come from all of his injuries. What a great win as well. We came back strong in the second half. Thanks, Southampton, for a great season. Next season, we'll come back stronger and move up the table more. Come on, you Reds. Kevin Young, hello. He says, great finish to the season. So looking forward to next season. Could we be the most deadly strike force in the Premier League? We may well be, Kevin. Tony on Facebook has said, well done, Saints. We are the pride of the South. We march on. Jordan, good evening. He's on YouTube. He says it's nice to see individual players working extremely hard for each other. Carl Walker-Peters is non-stop and Shane Long is relentless when he comes on, and it sums up the attitude of the squad. And a final comment then from Jack Foster. Thanks for getting in touch. He's on Facebook. He says, great to see Saints finish third in this mini league. Only the Manchester clubs have done better. What a season this next one could be. Jack in South Africa, thank you very much for getting in touch. Now, Dean, Adam, before we say goodbye, let's look ahead to next season, shall we? What are your expectations, Adam?
Well, I think you're always looking for progress, and Saints, as I said before, I felt before the season this was an 11th to 14th type bracket that they were in, that sort of area of the table. It's been, as we said, a slightly strange way to get there, but they finished 11th, and ultimately you get what you deserve, and that's where they deserve to be. So now the next thing is progress under Ralph. It's to have a better start to the season, and then be more consistent throughout, rather than the sort of really difficult start and then picking up everything at the end of the season. So the next bracket is probably that 7th to 11th, 7th to 10th, 7th to 11th. I think some people might feel that's optimistic, but then I would counter that and say, well, look at this season. They've finished 18 points above the relegation zone, and they're only finished four behind Arsenal in 8th. So, I mean, they're much closer as a team to that area of the table than they are the bottom of the table. So, look for progress. I think we've seen such exciting signs of this team under Ralph. Really taking shape now. He's imposing his philosophy now. I feel it's for the first time that I think he's really felt comfortable enough with the position of the team, the position of the club, his position at the club, the players that he's got at his disposal to really stamp his authority on it. They're playing his formation. They're trying to impose their game on the opposition rather than often in the last few years, we've seen Saints spend more time worrying about their opponents than they have trying to impose themselves on a game. And I think that's changing now. And I feel that there is progress to be made there. And I think a good top half finish is well within their grasp next year. So that's really what I'll be hoping for next season.
Dean, certainly, as Adam said, a lot of promise going into the new season. What are your hopes for Southampton?
Well, do I dare say that there's a little bit of expectation now, just due to the performances that we've had since the return and the results and the teams that Southampton have beat? I'd be fair to say there's a little bit, and I'd like to think that pressure that the players and the club and the manager would like that, just because they look so confident. They have the momentum, and there's going to be a short period off now. I think it's 3 or 4 weeks or something like that until they'll come back for pre-season, and then the season will start again. So they'll be fresh in their minds. There'll be confidence from this end of the season. And it's exciting times for the club. I think now progress would be the next step. Like Adam said, I would probably go a top 10 finish. So, can we break into the top 10? Can we have a good cup run? And can the club be really consistent in their philosophy? Can they keep bringing younger players through? Can they add some strength to the squad in terms of maybe a little bit more experience and spend some money and invest in the transfer market like all clubs do? But can the youngsters now really push on? Can they play a few more games? Can they establish themselves in the team? So exciting times for Southampton, but I think the next step is breaking into that top 10, being consistent. So this season's been very good. We finished in 11th place in a strong position, performing well. Can we get into the top 10 now? And then the following seasons, can we keep progressing? And we have the chance now with the manager having a long-term contract. So it's looking good, and I'm looking forward to next season watching Southampton play.
Yeah, as am I. Well, that concludes our final show of the Premier League season. Thank you so much to everybody that's watched us on Saints Live since the restart. And of course, a special thanks to Dean and Adam for joining us for the last 9 matches. Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. And of course, a huge thank you to all of the fans that have been watching and commenting along at home as well. We really look forward to seeing you again next season. But for now, to play us out, here's the Saints Brass Band.
1, 2, 3, 4.